Celtics fans, things are not looking good for Al Horford re-signing with your Boston Celtics. So I need you guys to manifest the good vibes right now. Go down below and hit that thumbs up icon. Like today's video if you want Big Al to stay in Beantown. What's going on, Green Teamers? You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith. And I was watching the NBA free agency coverage last night on ESPN, and Bobby Marks had said this when he was going over the Celtics' additions and losses through the first couple weeks of the NBA offseason. And he said, when he was kind of going through the table, he pointed to Al Horford's name, and he said the Celtics are, quote, going to lose Al Horford in free agency. And this isn't the biggest surprise in the world, but it is disheartening to, see Al Horford go. And not personal by any means. I want to see him contend for a championship, and the Celtics don't look to be in that spot next season. So he's being looked at by a ton of contenders around the NBA. And we've heard in the hours leading up into free agency when it started on Monday that the Golden State Warriors are actually a hotbed for Horford at this point. Anthony Slater, the biggest Warriors insider out there, said that many in the league continue to link Al Horford to the Warriors as a preferred target. So it looks like Golden State's going all in on Big Al. And I think he would fit phenomenally in that Warriors system personally, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's guaranteed to end up in the Bay Area because there are other teams looking to make moves and potentially bring Horford in. Michael Scotto of Hoopsite listed these 4 teams as also some contenders around the league looking to add a guy like Horford. Now, the New York Knicks were on this list, but they did just sign Gershon Yabusele to the non-taxpayer or to the taxpayer mid-level exception. So I'm not so sure if he'll exactly be able to go to the New York Knicks with the cap situation that they have. So maybe you take them off of this list. But then you look at the Denver Nuggets, where they just brought in Jonas Valanciunas as well via trade. So are they looking to add another center here, or maybe run Horford at the 4 off the bench? I'm not so sure that would be the case either. Then you look at the Cleveland Cavs with their front court rotation of Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. They do kind of need that backup guy to kind of run the backup 4 and 5 over there in Cleveland. So watch out for them as a dark horse candidate to obtain Horford. And then the LA Lakers, they're still without a center. People are speculating that DeAndre Ayton will end up with the LA Lakers once he clears waivers on Wednesday. So we'll see if that ends up happening. But these teams there at the bottom are definitely teams to watch in the pursuit of Horford. Then in that conversation later on, Marc J. Spears said this on ESPN about Al Horford, saying he's taking his time. There's no signing just yet, and that there's 3 to 4 teams. I know that there's been a lot of speculation about Golden State, but we'll wait to see if the three-point shot gets to Chase. Look, it would be a great fit if he were to end up with the Warriors, but I think it would be a great fit anywhere, to be honest. Al Horford is a plug-and-play player, and it's really sad to see him kind of be on his way out. I know he's 39, and I know he should prioritize winning at this point in his career, even though he already got the title in 2024 with Boston. Like, this is a guy who wants to cement a Hall of Fame career here. And if he gets another ring and he's a real contributor, that conversation is only going to get hotter on Al Horford getting to Springfield, Massachusetts. So I understand the idea of him wanting to go out there, and he's a guy who's still playing at an elite level. I know that he could get a ton of playing time with the Celtics this season if, looking at their front court rotation. We'll talk about it in just a little bit. But, this is a guy who I probably would assume wants to play in the realm of 15 to 25 minutes a night on any given game in the regular season, and then, ramp up the production when needed in the playoffs. Like, he's still shooting 40% from three-point range in the postseason this past year. He's been basically doing that each of the past 4 seasons. And, these are numbers that, you don't exactly need to, be your starter at this point anymore. And I don't think Al Horford wants that responsibility in a year that he's going to try to ring chase. So I think it looks like he's on his way out at this point. It's unfortunate, but the financial constraints the Celtics have, they can't give him a $10 million deal. And when you look at guys around the league like a Brook Lopez or even a Kevon Looney who got $8 million a year and Brook got $9 million a year, there's just no reason that Al Horford should not be getting that type of money, if not more, at this point. I think he's a much more switchable and mobile defender than those two. I think he hits the three-point shot just as consistently as Brook Lopez does. And obviously we know Kevon Looney's not really a stretch big. So I think Al Horford is probably the best center left on the free agent market, in my opinion. You could argue DeAndre Ayton, but the veteran leadership favors Al Horford here. He's a championship winner, and I'm really sad to see him leave Boston at this point, because that's what all signs point to, is he's trying to contend next season. And the early offseason rumors that we heard in the Twitter streets and all that stuff signaled that Horford would be on his way out because he wants to play and wants to contend next season. Doesn't look like the Celtics are going to be able to do that. So you predict it for me down in the comment section. Where does Al Horford sign in NBA free agency? Is it with the Dubs? Is it with Cleveland? Is it with a team like the Lakers if they end up striking out on DeAndre Ayton? You let me know where you think Big Al heads in this offseason, as it probably will not be with the Boston Celtics. But hey, if you're optimistic, let me know if you guys think he comes back to the C's down in the comment section. I'd say he ends up with the Golden State Warriors. Look, they're a team that absolutely needs a center, and they're going to be leaning in a little bit more to second-year player Quentin Post they took in the second round last year in the NBA draft, who's a stretch big. And Horford's a player who can not only mentor him on the offensive end, but on the defensive end where he needs to pick up his game a lot as well. So my prediction would be that Horford does end up in Golden State. If it's today, if it's tomorrow, only time will tell. But I think it's a really, really great fit in that system. And I know he's not a West Coast guy, but that's an opportunity for him to contend in this league, play next to Steph, play next to Jimmy, and you know what? Really see a nice sort of back end or home stretch of his NBA career. But then we got to switch gears and look at the Celtics because they're in a bad spot now. I can't lie to you guys. This is not exactly an inspiring front court to be looking at here. Luka Garza was signed to a 2-year deal, and could he be not in a way the player that Luke Kornet is, but could he be that mold? Can he be a capable passer out of the high post in the short roll, hit open shooters on the perimeter, and just be an overall high IQ player? Could he also get a version of like a Kelly Olynyk type that we saw? I think that's honestly, the archetype that Garza favors here. Can score down in the low post, good at getting position on defenders on the low block, and can also hit the outside shot and step it out as well. So I'm just going to see Luka Garza in an expanded role next year. But then you look down the line and like you got Neemias Queta, who I'm not so sure is an NBA big. Xavier Tillman, who I'm not so sure at this point is an NBA player, let alone a center in this league. He's like 6'7". And then Amari Williams, who I have high hopes for, but is a late second round pick. So who knows if he's going to be a contributor in year one. I think he's probably, the best hybrid passer and rim protector rebounder out of this crop. We'll see if he ends up getting a shot. I'm going to be watching Summer League, no doubt, looking at Amari Williams. And then Keith Smith brought this up as well, because we're going to kind of transition into where the Celtics go from here. He's adding Luka Garza, brings Boston to about $2 million from the second apron with one open roster spot. So that means that more moves are coming for the Celtics. That does not mean just signing one more player. That probably means more trades are coming at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see who ends up getting moved. It doesn't look like that's going to be Derek White or Jaylen Brown anymore, but there's probably going to be some players around the margins that Brad Stevens looks to move off of in order to maybe get under the luxury tax entirely. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Make sure you guys get hooked up and reminisce on the good times back in 2024 where the Celtics lifted the Larry, and get this Celtics championship t-shirt with the caricatures of all the players on there. Holiday, Porzingis, they're not in Boston anymore, but you guys can get this commemorative 2024 Celtics t-shirt that is only $17, by the way. Like, that is an absolute steal. It was nearly $40. Now you're getting it for less than half of that. So go take advantage of this deal at this link right here. chatsports.com/champ sale. That's chatsports.com/champ sale. I put that in the comment section and the description of today's video. So go down below, click that link. Fanatics gives us a little bit of the proceeds when you guys use our link. So go get yourself hooked up with a Celtics championship t-shirt for the low. chatsports.com/champ sale. Okay, as far as what the Celtics are going to do here moving forward this offseason and into this next 2025-26 campaign, I might be committing to Team Tank. I might be committing to Team Tank for the Boston Celtics in 2025-2026. It doesn't look good. The front court, whether or not you have, or whether you have Jaylen Brown or that level of player on your roster and another player like Derek White on your roster or not, you are going to get killed on the inside, on the glass, defensively. It is a total mismatch for Boston. So I'm curious to see what type of depth they add in the front court in the weeks and months to come. But it's not looking great right now. And that kind of just tells me that they're not looking to contend at all in the Eastern Conference next year. And they're probably still looking to move off of more money. Now, what does that mean? Because they have Jaylen Brown at a $50 million, $60 million plus a year contract. Derek White at $30 million. You're not trading either one of those guys. You're also not trading Peyton Pritchard either at his $7 million a season or $8 million a year, whatever it is. Like, those are such good of value contracts, or in Brown's case, like, too expensive to really think about trading at this point. So how do you move off some money? Well, a hot name that's been talked about leading up to this offseason is obviously Sam Hauser. But then we heard leading up to free agency from Celtics insider Jay King that he said the C's are said to be more focused on avenues that would allow them to hold on to Sam Hauser for the foreseeable future. So it doesn't look like Hauser's being moved, even though, when the offseason began, his $10 million a year contract ended up costing $80 million when it comes to the luxury tax penalties that Boston was set to face. But they're trying to get out of the tax right now and avoid those repeater penalties. So in keeping Hauser, it looks like more names might be on the move. But that means that he's a part of the core now for the foreseeable future. He's entering the first year or maybe this is the second year of the 4-year, $45 million contract. So now that means that Brad Stevens is probably committing to him at this point. He's committing to Peyton Pritchard. He's committing to Jaylen Brown, Derek White, the names I said before, and obviously Jason Tatum. This looks like what's going to be the core for 2026, 2027, and beyond. And look, I love this. Like, it is fantastic. But, you got a point guard, you got a shooting guard, you got a small forward, you got a 4, you don't have a 5, and you have a swing man off of the bench. Like, it's good, but there obviously needs to be a lot more added to this group. Hopefully there's more financial flexibility when that's all being pieced together. And then we look at what they can do right now to clear up some more money. So that is a possibility later next summer. Do we trade Anfernee Simons? Like, there have been reports from Jay King and from other insiders around the league that the C's could look to just move off of Simons before he ends up wearing green at all in 26 or 25-26. Would I love that? I don't know. I mean, he's 26 years old. He's on an expiring contract. So I don't know. Maybe I would like to see him play in a winning environment for a little bit in Boston, and he fits the kind of mold that the Celtics like, run and gun, get up a lot of threes. Like, I think he would fit really nicely next to Jason Tatum, but that would obviously come after a contract extension. So could they look to move off of his $27 million expiring contract now, maybe clear up something like $7 million, get a guy like Nikola Vucevic, who's on a $20 million expiring contract, and you look at getting a little bit more relief that way. And then if you want to get under the luxury tax entirely, which they're about $15 million away from, maybe a little bit more now after the Luka Garza signing, that they would probably have to trade George Niang as well. And keep in mind, the Celtics cannot aggregate either one of these deals. As they were recently traded, you cannot piece them together for some big superstar or a player that makes $30 million. They would have to be traded separately. George Niang can fit into a couple different trade exceptions around the league, so we'll see if a team wants to take a flyer on him or if he ends up wearing green for the Celtics next season. I wouldn't love that, especially if they're keeping Hauser. It signals to me that Niang is on his way out. If they probably would be choosing between the two of these guys. And at 32 years old, I mean, he's the worst value, and you could maybe get a protected second-round pick of some kind just to get off of the money and salary dump him, which completely dumps Kristaps Porzingis $30.7 million, and you're closer and closer to that luxury tax line. What do you guys think, though? Where does Brad Stevens move next? What's the next move that Brad Stevens makes in the 2025 NBA offseason? Is it a signing? Is it trading away Niang, Simons, or Hauser? Let me know what you guys think Brad the Wizard is going to do sometime this week, because the clock's ticking. The teams are getting shifted out. What do you guys think Brad does soon? Let me know in the comments section. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That will do it for today's edition of Celtics Today by Chat Sports. And we will keep you updated with everything that happens. If Al Horford ends up signing somewhere, or if the Celtics make a move, we're going to bring you guys a video instantly. So lock us in, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys all in the next one. And as always, let's go C's.